Hello and welcome to another Bad Comic Review. This time we are re-entering the Lost World of the Warlord, issue 24. This is a 1979 issue from the original series, volume 1. Now Morgan finds himself on a ship bound for parts unknown. His trauma from having to kill the clone of his son that he didn't know was a clone still haunting him as he makes his way around Skartaris in a haze of depression and misery. Nothing seems to fill the void. This book is called Song of Ligia. I think that's how it's supposed to be pronounced. Written and illustrated by Mike Grell. Inker was Vince Coletta. Colorist Adrian Roy. Letterer Ben Oda. Editor Jack C. Harris. Now this is a standalone story. Pretty straightforward, which is I kind of like about the Warlord is there weren't a lot of large like 4 to 6 part stories. There was a lot of self-contained stuff and a couple of like 2-parters. A few stories became longer later, but all in all it was pretty self-contained to 1 or 2 issue arcs with a meta story in there. Well, this time the vessel that he's traveling on is attacked by pirates and he puts up a good fight but takes an arrow to the shoulder, collapses into the water where he's kind of lost at sea, and he's saved by Ligia, who's this green mermaid woman, and she pulls the arrow out and absorbs the wound with her magic, and it becomes a wound on her, which is then healed. But her magics are limited. She reads his mind and sees the tragedy that happened. We only get some images to refresh our memory, so if you haven't read the stories prior to this, you might be a little confused. You'll get kind of an idea, enough to figure out that he's traumatized by something. So she creates this little bubble world where there's a little castle and he can rest under a tree, that sort of thing. It's just a survival bubble for him, but it's big enough to kind of have this like life with her, and they kind of fall in love, and she goes out of the bubble every day and brings him food, and they spend a lot of time together. It's a lot of time, but we don't really know how long. It indicates that his armor's rusting, so it's probably been a few years, and there's this growing sense of wanderlust where he goes and looks at his armor as if he recognizes it. Even though his memories are gone, there's still this lingering part of him, and she starts to wonder if maybe she didn't kill what it meant to be Morgan. Well, she ends up getting attacked by some fishmen, and Morgan instantly puts his armor on and springs into action. He fights them off, but ends up taking a trident to the gut, like right to the gut, right in the belly button. And she realizes that although she can't bear to lose him, what she did probably wasn't the right thing, and it's going to take all of her magic to save him, but she's going to do it anyway. So she does it, she saves his life, and he wakes up on a beach, and she is transformed into another animal and is more or less forgets her own past. Now there is an addendum to this one where a master thief named Hirando breaks into Deimos's tower on the edge of the darkness where the world ends near what we would call the North Pole, and he finds a magic ring and puts it on and immediately dies, which means that Deimos is probably going to return once again. And all in all, fantastic story. It was a very fun, quick tale of the Warlord and his encounters with more beings of Skartaris. The fact that Deimos might be coming back again is of course always interesting, but this was definitely a good read, a nice self-contained issue. You could find it for about $2. I haven't seen these go for more than $3 or $4 a piece in a long time, and if you like sword and sorcery, it's definitely going to be for you. But I really like the Warlord series. It's consistently good. The weakest issues were still better than most books on the market today, mostly because they are self-contained. You can get them cheap and they have a fun story. I would definitely recommend this issue, and I hope you enjoyed as much as I did. I really like sword and sorcery stuff, and they don't do a whole lot of that anymore, especially not done well, and this is exactly how sword and sorcery and high fantasy should be done. So I can't recommend this book enough. This series is fantastic, and I hope it continues to be that way. We'll look at another issue sometime soon. I'm going to try and get more episodes on vintage stuff done in the next few weeks so that we can look at some new stuff and some vintage stuff as well. But as always, thank you so much for listening and supporting the channel. If you like the video, hit the thumbs up and consider subscribing so you don't miss future reviews, and we hope to see you on the next one.